Another day, another twin. Ooh. The Acra on this one sounds good. Ooh, this sounds meaty. So yeah, a buddy of mine is trying out my bobber, and he has this pretty nice T7. No wait, Tenere 700. I like the T7 designation a bit more. And it's actually a good comparison because I just rode the Ducati Desert X, and them both being those twins. Okay, the Desert X is the L twin, this is the parallel twin. Much like my bobbers, though it's, yeah, totally different beast. But it's an interesting comparison because as the Desert X, this one is a like middleweight ADV bike. Actually, I gotta say, from the first few kilometers, there's no surprises here. The gearbox, everything, yeah, the shifting, everything feels very, very natural. It's nice and stable. Let's see, the brakes. Yeah, the brakes are better on the Desert X. But leaning felt a little bit better on the Desert X. I don't know what is it about, like the weight distribution or something. The acceleration is there. It's not like powerful. It's not sport bikey. Kind of like the Desert X was a little bit sport bikey. Like the leaning and the go and perkiness, it felt a lot lighter than this. Okay, I've only ridden it for literally 2 minutes, but if somebody put a gun at me and made me choose, I think I would choose this one. Because if I bought this one, I'd still have like a third of money left to put into other things. And I probably wouldn't worry as much dropping it if I was going to woods. But let's give it some time. Let's give it some time. The throttle plays, it's much smoother. Like there's no jerkiness whatsoever. Yeah, it's a bit more difficult to put into a lean than the Desert X. I'm not gonna even compare it to the bobber, obviously. Though they are both parallel twins, and that's where the similarities end, basically. Actually, it's been all about parallel twins these days, because I just yesterday rode my dad's new Vulcan S, which is also a parallel twin. Again, a totally different kind of beast. Well, I'm saying beast. Ooh, the Acra is giving nice pops. Let's see. It'll go. It's not, again, it's not explosive. It's not abrupt or sport bikey. I like the term sport bikey. Having never ridden a sport bike, it's a bit, yeah, ambiguous, but ambiguous? Whatever. You know what I mean. But the exhaust note or the engine note is way better because, yeah, but somehow the Desert X with the stock setup sounded like a sewing machine. But yeah, if you look at the cockpits, this one sort of looks like it's unfinished, or I don't know, there's like a lot of wiring here. I don't remember that being there for the Desert X. It was more refined. And this is one is probably, yeah, the older version of display. The newer ones are with the color TFT, I believe. Though, I mean, this is better. This is more. There's more contrast in this one. The seating position, the seat on this one is actually lowered, but it still feels okay for me. It's much more firmer than the Desert X. The shape is a bit different. Like if you put your feet down, then you kind of feel the edges of the seat in your thighs a bit more. The height is about the same, actually. I believe that now if it was the regular seat, it would be higher than the Desert X. I don't know the numbers, but right now with the lower seat, I get my heels down exactly the same as I did on the Desert X. Sadly enough, we're not going to be going into any faster roads because it'd be interesting to feel how this windscreen feels against the Desert X. Is also sort of the same looking narrow one, but the engine braking is better on this thing. I certainly feel it way more. Yeah, a little bit of jerkiness. Not too bad. Yeah, it's probably the Acra, but I like the engine note on this one way more than I do on the on the L-Twin Desert X. But obviously, yeah, all of the rest that's there on the Desert X, like the cruise control, where you can actually like recall and adjust the speed back and forth. There's nothing here. It's a bare bones, a simple motorcycle, which obviously for some is a good thing. But I now, being used to the cruise control, at least would want one, because for the longer stretches it's an important thing. But somehow, even if you're trying to relax your right hand, your throttle hand, it's working all of the time. And over long stretches of road, you're gonna be feeling that in your shoulders. At least it's always been the case for me, and that's why I like the cruise control. And this is a ATV bike. It's supposed to go the distances, so I don't know, if there's an option, I would definitely opt for one. But even in the city, it's a really nice bike to ride. It's planted. It doesn't feel like too big. I don't know. Somehow the bike feels manageable, even in the city, even with its height. And maybe we'll see if we go a little bit slower how it feels then. But it's so different from my high torque engine. Like on the bobber, like here doing 60, I would be in the third gear, right? And it would be around 2,300 RPMs. And with this one, I'm in the fifth, doing about 3,000 RPMs. Yeah, I can actually sit around on the seats, pretty nice. Go a bit further. On the back, it's a bit more slanted up, so can't really sit there for too long. So yeah, realistically, there's only one place to sit on this seat saddle thingy. But I wonder, yeah, low RPMs about 2,500 in the fifth gear, doing 50. If I now, okay, it's not gonna like go, but the sound is okay with this. Actually, yeah, the sound is really good on this. But yeah, it's definitely not as torquey as the one in front of me. But the other thing is, actually, with my knees, I can't, like the front of my knees, I can't grab the tank. It kind of ends here, the part where I can grab on. It's, I wonder if I wrote it up. Okay, yeah, riding standing, it makes sense. But trying to sit down and grab the tank, I'm left with nothing around my knees. Yeah, going over this kind of bumpy terrain, it's way better on this thing. The suspension is way more plush, but obviously it would be because there's way more travel, right? Oh, don't leave me behind. Yeah, kind of feels like because it doesn't have that much go, it's not as abrupt, it feels like it's way more fun to ride because you can sort of push it a bit more. It doesn't feel like it's gonna like bite you in the butt if you do. Low speed maneuvering, very nice and planted. Actually, at least when it's going, it doesn't feel like it's too top heavy. I understand it's different, it's not comparable to the 890, which has the gas tank low down, but at least whenever it's moving, it feels fine. But like on a Desert X, when I was trying to move it around the parking lot, it felt like bleh. I would just drop the thing. No, it's really good to be on my own bike. The sound is so much better on this one. Even with the stock exhaust, which I would, yeah, still like to be a little bit meatier, because at the higher speeds you can't hear anything, but boy, no, the bobber is good. The bobber is cool. So yeah, in all honesty, there's a good chance that the next bike is gonna have to be the second bike, meaning I don't really think I want to get rid of this bobber. ever. And I haven't said that about any of the bikes I've owned, so maybe I'm just older. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Yeah. Okay, the corners are more fun with the other one. I will give it that.